When I bought the house, there was one door that wouldn't open. It had no handle, no hinges. I figured it was nothing, until I heard someone knocking from the inside. This story belongs to Nora Lane, 33, editor and newly divorced, who moved into a quiet colonial house in Vermont. The place was perfect, or at least it seemed that way at first. The old colonial home stood quietly at the end of a tree-lined street, its windows glowing softly in the dusk, promising warmth and comfort. She had always dreamed of a house like this, one with history in its bones, creaking floors that whispered stories, and rooms that seemed to hold secrets just out of reach. The realtor's voice echoed in her mind, describing the original woodwork, the hand-carved banisters, the fireplaces in every room. It was everything she'd hoped for, and more. But as she wandered through the upstairs hallway on her first night, something caught her eye. There, set into the wall between two bedrooms, was a door she hadn't noticed before. It was unlike any other in the house. No knob, no lock, no hinges visible. Just a smooth, dark wood panel, perfectly flush with the faded wallpaper, as if it had been deliberately hidden. She ran her fingers over its surface, feeling the cool grain beneath her touch. There were no markings, no scratches, nothing to suggest it had ever been opened. Curious, she called the realtor the next morning. The answer came quickly, almost too quickly. "Oh, that! Just an old insulation closet, painted shut years ago. Nothing to worry about." The words were meant to reassure, but they only deepened her curiosity. Why would anyone seal a closet so completely? And why did the realtor sound so eager to move on? That night, as the house settled and the wind rattled the windows, she found herself drawn back to the hallway. The door seemed to absorb the light, its surface darker than the rest of the woodwork. She pressed her ear against it, half expecting to hear the hum of old pipes or the scurry of mice. But there was only silence, a heavy, expectant silence that made her heart beat faster. She told herself it was nothing, just an old house full of quirks. But as she walked away, she couldn't shake the feeling that the door was waiting for her to come back. Nora didn't think much of it, until one night, as she walked past the hallway, she heard a soft knock from the other side. She froze, put her ear to the wood. Nothing. She told herself it was old pipes or maybe house settling, but it kept happening. Always at 3:12 in the morning, always just one knock. She had always thought the old door was just stuck from years of neglect, maybe warped by the changing seasons or painted shut by a previous owner. But after weeks of trying every trick she could think of, oil, leverage, even brute force with a crowbar and hammer, the door refused to budge. Each night she'd return to the hallway, determined to make progress, only to find herself defeated by the stubborn wood and ancient iron hinges. The sound of metal scraping against wood echoed through the empty house, a reminder of her growing frustration. She even tried removing the hinges, but the screws were rusted solid, as if the door had been sealed on purpose, meant to keep something in or out. Eventually, she realized she needed help. She called in a contractor, someone with experience in old homes and hidden spaces. He arrived with a digital wall scanner, a tool she'd never seen before, and began methodically scanning the wall around the door. As he worked, he grew increasingly puzzled, his brow furrowing as he compared the scanner's readings to the original blueprints she'd found in the attic. According to the plans, the wall should have been a standard thickness, nothing unusual. But the scanner told a different story. This section of the wall was nearly 4 feet deeper than it should have been. There was no sign of a cavity, no hollow sound when he tapped, just solid material where there should have been empty space. The contractor double-checked his equipment, then traced his finger along the blueprint, searching for any indication of a hidden room or passage. But there was nothing. No mention of an extra space, no dotted lines or faded notes. It was as if this part of the house simply didn't exist on paper. He looked at her, confused, and said, "It's just not there." The mystery deepened, leaving her with more questions than answers. What was behind the door? Why had someone gone to such lengths to hide it? And what secrets might be waiting, sealed away for decades just out of reach? That night, Nora had her first dream. She was standing in front of the door, except this time, it had a handle. She reached out. Right before she touched it, she woke up. The knocking got louder. Now there were 2 knocks, and, the wood actually felt warm. She set up a camera facing the door overnight. When the sun finally rose and the house was filled with the soft golden light of morning, no one expected what the security footage would reveal. The night had seemed uneventful, just another quiet evening in the old colonial home. But as the footage was reviewed, a chilling discovery was made. At exactly 3:11 in the morning, the camera, which had been recording steadily all night, suddenly cut to black. For 2 full minutes, from 3:11 to 3:13 a.m., there was nothing but darkness on the screen. No static, no movement, just an unsettling, complete void. Then, just as abruptly as it had vanished, the feed flickered back to life. The familiar view of the bedroom reappeared. But something was different. The door, which had been firmly closed when everyone went to bed, was now open just a crack. It was barely noticeable at first, but as the footage played on, a sense of dread crept in. For a split second, almost too quick to catch unless you were looking for it, a shadowy shape appeared in the narrow gap between the door and the frame. It wasn't just a trick of the light or a passing shadow. The shape was distinct, almost human, and it seemed to be watching the sleeping woman intently from the darkness of the hallway. The figure didn't move, didn't make a sound. It simply stood there, silent and still, as if it had been waiting for this exact moment. The woman in the bed remained completely unaware, lost in her dreams, while the presence lingered just out of sight. The footage sent chills down the spines of everyone who watched it. What could have caused the camera to go dark at that exact moment? And who, or what, was standing in the doorway, watching from the shadows? The answers remain a mystery, but one thing is certain. Something terrifying visited that room in the dead of night. She called the contractor again. He refused to come back, said the wall wasn't right, mentioned his tools kept losing charge near that hallway. Nora tried ignoring it, but soon things began appearing around the door. A child's shoe, old dust-covered books she didn't own, and once, a photo of herself as a baby, standing in front of that door. She searched public records. The house had no history of previous owners reporting anything, except one note in the city archive. Do not modify west hallway. Room must remain sealed. No reason given, no name signed. The next night, she had another dream. This time, she opened the door. Inside, there was a room full of furniture from different decades, photos on the wall, all with her face, at different ages, some older than she is now. She screamed, then, woke up in bed. The door? Now it had a crack, barely visible, but it was opening. At 3:12 in the morning, she stood in front of it. She waited. This time she knocked first. 3 knocks, and from the other side came a whisper. Thank you. That's the last time I had to wait. The door opened. She hasn't been seen since. But you know, the new owner of the house says the hallway has no door, just a smooth wall. Yet every night at 3:12 in the morning, the new owner's baby monitor picks up a sound. 3 knocks. Some doors don't open with keys, they open when it's your turn.